I'm Jeff. This is my Potter's Journal for September 19th, 2023. In case you think I'm not been doing anything in the studio, okay, it goes all the way back there. Getting ready for fall shows, Christmas, lots of kiln firings coming up. Maybe that's what we should do today. Unload a kiln in between the shelves, cooling down, a bit of a pottery update, and okay, something I've been against, and that's brushing glazes on. Okay, let's see what's going on in the studio today. What's in the kiln today? Well, there it is. There it is. This is one that was brushed. This is one that was brushed, the second coat. The first coat I did pour in and pour out, and then did the tire iron thing on the outside with the first coat. This is a glaze on glaze. And you know what? Out there, the second coat of the blue sea mist or aqua is splotchy, and maybe I didn't do 3 coats. So there's why I don't like the brushing on. It's very splotchy, we'll say. And even inside, you know what? It's not as clean as one that was poured in another firing. So we're missing the clean look to it. And what else is here? I did just 1 coat. I was doing 2 dips on the snow on brick from Standard and the sea mist on the inside on my Pittsburgh mugs. We can see the Pittsburgh this time with the 2 coats. This is a single coat. It was filling up the grooves. You know what? This is not the stamp I normally use. So I misplaced. I think the other stamp is a little deeper and also helps with that. And I wasn't going to share this kiln opening. It's a lot of standard wear stuff, but there's always something to learn. So this is a second glaze test on my free glaze. If you saw the glaze, I've been washing the bucket that I've been washing my tools and all the old glazes off with a sponge into. I finally mixed it up and came up with a free glaze. I haven't sieved it yet, so this is the same glaze. It's 2 different kiln bodies, but they're not that much different. So the question always is, why doesn't my glaze turn out like the samples? Okay, it was 2 coats. It's a different clay. Okay, let's let this. You know what? There's one more here. One more. Oh, and then we'll let this cool down before we get to the next layer. A small flask. This was made out of the parts that I cut out of the. Oh, this is another story we'll get to maybe. Yeah, another story we'll get to. I already started a video clip on these little ones that will probably be essential oil flasks and potions. I don't do witches and spiders for Halloween, but I will do some skull mugs and some skull shots. They're popular now year-round, just like ducks were in the 80s and cherubs in the 90s, then the sunflowers, but they have bigger market in the fall. So we'll work on that in the next few weeks. And here's where people waste space. This was a 1-inch shelf. Before I put that top shelf in, I made sure, okay, that there was about 1 inch extra space. But I didn't put this on top, otherwise it might have been too cold, and we may have had bubbles in the glaze. So by putting it a little further down, we had a consistent firing, and that's how we do it here at Rooster Hill Pottery. These are glaze tests. Glaze tests, and here's that one from the top. Glaze tests inspired by Pennsylvania and Eastern European slipware. So I think I've got a black and white on a few different colors. We've got oh, these are still hot. We should have gave it more time to cool. I'm testing out some reclaimed clay, and I'm not sure that I like my green glaze as much here as I do. See how nice it is on my hazelnut clay body, a darker richness to it. But before I use all this clay and use it with the wrong glazes, I want to see what we got. And so we've got a black slip with a white decorating on it, and a white slip with the black on it with my green glaze. And I really like this. You know, there was a roughness to the slipware before it was covered with the glaze. It kind of cleaned it up a bit and hid some of what I didn't want to see. Oh, wow. I am really happy. You know, I think some of these might have the second tester on the next shelf or somewhere further down in here. These were, once again, to test out that reclaimed clay. And we've got the black slip with the white decorating on it, and the white slip with the black decorating on it. And here it's with standard ceramics, snow on brick. And let's see what else. These two I think we'll get to, you know, the further down, the sea mist, black slip with the white decorating, and white slip with, okay, the black decorating. Very nice. I am really happy. Okay, letting that cool. We've got bisqueware stacking up, but I've got glaze testers here in 3 different clay bodies. I don't know when I'll get around to mixing up the 5-pound test bags. The 5-pound test bags may be just the right size for a lot of people. But here's the plan. I sell my glaze testers, and I've sold them relatively plain. But now to sell them both plain and fancy, it may be double or triple the price. Okay, another wavy bowl. This time it was small enough to dip in the glaze. And look at that. Nice and clean around there. Nice and smooth and happy on the inside. So I still like the dipping. It's a problem. I guess big bowls are a problem. That's why big stuff costs so much. I've noticed that no matter what the potters experience with, big stuff's is a problem. And I'm slowly rebuilding the stock. This was the big story of the summer. The potitnica, the bunt baking pan for the Slovenian pizza or nut roll. This was such a magic series for me this summer that I had somebody actually who spotted the videos and wanted one sent to him. And I said, just let me get past the show. Well, I had to rebuild the inventory. And somebody else spotted me either through Facebook or YouTube. So, okay, yeah, I won't show you the shots again or the mugs, but there we go. Pittsburgh. While that's cooling, this I may not have said in my last video, drying long and slow because of their thickness. The mortar and pestles. I kind of like the low flat one with the shape of that, and here's something that maybe didn't make the video. The little babies. The little babies. For when you just need to crack a few peppercorns. Here's something I needed for a show coming up, a big chip and dip plate, and I just can't imagine these brushed on and coming out possibly splotchy. They just have to be dipped. And they don't fit in even a 5-gallon glaze bucket. I've got to do it in the pan. So maybe that's what I need to do with the big wavy bowls. Come up with just putting them in one glaze. These were I was trying to make a cheaper version of a little salt cellar, a little herb condiment cup thrown off the hump, but I don't know if it was a clay body or the fact that they're wider than my shots. Half of them had the S-cracks, and I pretty much eliminated that on the shots. I think I talked about that in a video. And here I pulled out, okay, the one from that last shelf. So we have this blended glaze of mine when I had two commercial glazes that just weren't right, and I dumped them together. Using them. I'm not throwing them away. I'm not wasting them. It's not going to be a permanent glaze of mine, but the white decoration on black slip and the black on white. And you know, I only do a few of these. Mix them in with the sea mist, and people like to see something a little different. And here, because the sea mist is really not a transparent glaze, I put in the ones where I had some smears or smudges, or I think there was a hair stuck in the slip trailer. And it helped, because it's not entirely clear, to hide some of the rough spots. So that was a good way to hide a few flaws by a glaze that's not completely transparent. And this time it's the sea mist from Standard Ceramic. Letting that bottom shelf cool and trying to let these not dry out. Another batch of face mugs. These guys are tedious. There's a lot of work in them. And it's always nice getting the time-consuming and tedious bits behind you, as I did with the pigs and all their parts, getting the fit right. You know, I featured all this in videos past, but an update, I now just poke holes through for the eyes. And the nose, I no longer put a cork in there because the cork wasn't even big enough to get money out. It misled people. They are savings banks, historically accurate. If it goes in there, that's the same way you have to get it out. Okay, so always lots of mugs. Always lots of mugs. But what I'm excited about, I will have to get out there to photograph these, since I've got two that hopefully I'll be packing and shipping. I'm glad I have a couple more for them to select from. The magic of this series this summer, I don't know, it must have been about 6 videos, and them all coming out perfect. I thought the magic was gone when I did these, rebuilt the inventory again. But, yeah, the kiln completed the magic on these for me. And I guess if we do have a theme for this kiln opening, since I always do themes, it's the painted glaze versus the dipped, the splotchy and the clean. And I guess we do have some nice test tiles from this video. But I can't think of a good theme title. So should I stay with the dipping and work out the difficulties with the big ones to avoid the splotchy? Or maybe I need to practice up on the brushing to eliminate the splotchy. Glaze tests, maybe? A bit overdone? Stop back and see what happens in the studio next week.